Deep philosophy, philosophy from our inner depth. Hello, Linda.
Hello, Ran.
The text that you chose to talk about today in this interview is by the philosopher Martin Buber. And Martin Buber was a Jewish philosopher. He grew up in Vienna, in Austria, and later in his life, he went to what is now Israel. And Buber, who lived in the 20th century, is especially known for his dialogical philosophy. In other words, a philosophy that focuses on relationship between people. For him, human beings are not primarily individuals. They're not primarily separate atoms, but rather they're a network of relationships. Our relationships are primary, are primordial. We begin as relationships. What happens then when we do not respect this relationship and when we do something against somebody? This issue is discussed in his article, which was also a presentation in London, an article, Guilt and Guilt Feelings. So, Linda, did anything in the text, any idea, touch you, impress you?
Well, I found the whole text really significant and inspiring. But I'd say the first thing that struck me is just the beginning of the text when Buber says that what is done cannot be undone. When we commit an act, when we harm someone or do something wrong, when it's done, it's done. Now, this may seem quite obvious, obviously, this is so, and yet, if you think about it, it's terrible. It's a tragedy. There's no way I can undo the harm I have inflicted on someone, maybe even on someone I love, someone I cherish. Yet I have inflicted harm. And therefore, there's no way I can imagine to be a better person than I am, because there's no way I can undo that.
You cannot erase the past.
We cannot erase the past. He says at one point that time is irreversible.
Irreversible.
And our acts are irreversible. And of course, this implies that I either run away from what I did, I try to forget it, or I must take full responsibility for what I did.
So what do you feel about his response to the issue of guilt? What do I do if at the age of 10 or 10 years ago or 5 years ago, I did something quite bad?
Well, he somehow suggests that we must enter a healing process of some sort. Otherwise, as I said, we either forget or we remain stuck in a way in our guilt, because that's something I feel deeply, that sometimes, at least I find that I can assess my guilt, the harm I have done, but what is wrong if I remain there, if I don't move forward? Buber tells us that we must move forward. And how? Well, of course, taking responsibility and facing, shedding light on all the aspects of the harm we have inflicted, of all the aspects of our guilt. We have to look it straight in the face without fear. That's not easy. It takes a lot of nerve. It's not easy at all. But once we face our guilt, we can start a healing process. How? Well, he says we have to try to act in a different way. With whom? With others, with the rest of humanity. we cannot undo the harm I did to that single person or whatever, or group of people or whatever it is that I did, but I can go on, go ahead, becoming a better person by acting in a better way. However, I also was struck by the fact that he says, okay, sure, now you can become a better person, but you must never forget where you come from. You must never forget what you did. You must never forget who you are, and be humble in even in becoming better in a way. You must be aware of who you are at all times.
Linda, is there any specific sentence that you found especially interesting or touching?
Yes, this one, which is more or less what we were saying already now. One cannot do evil with one's whole soul. One can do good only with the whole soul. So if I am able to connect myself and with the rest of humanity, I have the potentiality for good because my soul is whole. If I remain an atom separated, then the potential for evil is there. But I particularly cherish this sentence because it is full of hope. It's so beautiful that there is hope. There is within each and every human being the potential for good as long as we connect. Yes.
So does this specific sentence of the need to be whole, does it connect with some personal experiences that you had?
Well, in a way, yes. Well, let's say that I am, what can I say, a guilt-prone person, okay? And so often in my life, I've been too much concentrated on my guilt and my wrongdoing and remain fixated on that. And in that way, I do not proceed. I kind of just stay there and go and full of pain and anguish and go on and think of what I did. And I realize that I cannot undo it and so on and so forth. And I'm just there. What really helped me, healed me. Buber healed me. He's taught me a way to go beyond. He's telling me, go beyond. You don't have to, you must not stay there. That's not your place. That's not where you have to stay. You have to go on. How? And he tells us how. Trying to reconciliate ourselves with humanity, with existence. Yes, and I would say that this healing process is also a process in which one learns to know oneself better. It's a learning process as well. And because my relationship changes with myself and with the world at the same time. It's, I would say, really a beautiful and inspiring text.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Linda. Thank you.
Ron.